Good evening, everybody. Live from Ibrox after Rangers' frustrating 1-1 draw with Aris Limassol in the Europa League this evening. Rangers falling behind in the first half, a ball over the top that we've seen so many times this season, before Rangers rallied in the second half. A big flashpoint after half an hour when Todd Cantwell was replaced by Philip Clement. He brought on Ross McCausland, and he got his first goal in a Rangers shirt in the second half. Lovely little finish from him after being laid off by Danilo. However, Rangers fail to find a winner. They huffed and puffed, but in all honesty, they didn't really deserve a second goal. And Ibrox went home very frustrated. There's so many talking points from the game. Jonny, just heard from Philip Clement in the press conference. Tried to put a positive spin on it. There's a few interesting things that you had to say. He was obviously asked about the substitution. He says it wasn't one that he would like to have made, but it wasn't. He was coming inside Cantwell when he told him to go on the outside. He did say he can play out on the right-hand side. He showed that against Sparta Prague, but ideally he would like him to play as a number 10 or over on the left. He wasn't the only one that was poor this evening. So many players underperforming. I don't think there was anyone apart from Ross McCausland. Good to see him getting his first Rangers goal. That aside, maybe should have scored a second goal in that second half. But Rangers go into the game against Real Betis, the final game, knowing that they've got to, it's in their own hands. If they win, they obviously progress and they top the group. Philip Clement did say that they aren't guaranteed football after Christmas, of course, with the Conference League as a parachute. But I think we all want the Europa League. But they've left work to do, Jonny, after a lacklustre performance. Rangers were laboured, taking too many touches. Nobody being brave on the ball. A very frustrated Ibrox tonight.
Yeah, well, I thought it was a pretty poor performance overall, Derek. And the thing is, I think that many people are reacting to and are frustrated by, it's this idea of a Rangers team that gets hit with a little bit of adversity and then fails to act, i.e. they go up to Aberdeen, they struggle there, they get a draw, and you're expecting them to bounce back against a team that they know they're better than. They don't. And I thought some of the performances in the team tonight were appalling. Sam Lammers, I've talked about him and his quality on the ball, but he just has no end product whatsoever. That's absolutely clear. I mean, I talked about this at the start of the game, Derek, and I think Cantwell's got an entitlement to be a bit peeved when he looks to his left and he sees a guy who's offering absolutely nothing. I would have certainly moved Cantwell across and taken Lammers off, who I thought had a very poor game. It's almost getting to the stage where you feel sorry for him. Even worse than Lammers, Cifuentes. I just don't see it, Derek. He always seems to be about 10 yards away from the ball where he should be. He lacks a sort of positional nous, and he just spends the whole game running about like a headless chicken and or strolling about, because that was another thing, I felt like Lundstrom looked overburdened with work, and I actually thought John Lundstrom, he gets a lot of criticism, but he worked his backside off and had a decent game tonight. But Cifuentes did not help him out, and that looks like another one, Derek. This summer transfer window is looking absolutely abysmal at this point, isn't it? I mean, 6 million on Danilo. I mean, he's shown that he's got a goal in him, but
he's a decent striker, but he's not someone you can hang your hat on, Jonny. Rangers need to get a proper number 9 in January.
Listen, Derek, I've talked about this so often. Lon Shanklin for me. You need to just go and get him, and he's going to cost quite a lot of money. But you can just hang your hat on Lawrence Shanklin in the Premiership, and I think you could hang your hat against a team like Aris, to be honest, if you gave him the ammunition. And people say, well, he's 28, he's going to be 29 next year. Do you know what? Rangers need goals for the next 3 years. Go and get a guy you know is going to get them. Stop messing about. Fundamentally, I think Danilo has got some attributes that you can use. He certainly works hard. There's no doubt about that. But Derek, he's one of those players that I look at him and think, are you working so hard that you're not quite at it when the moment falls? You know, that Ronald de Boer thing about, I don't run about like a headless chicken because I need to be sharp and at it the moment the ball falls to me.
Yeah.
It was, there was quite a few players there tonight that just did not do themselves justice.
Yeah.
Even guys who have had a good season, like Sima.
Well, interestingly, Jonny, he did mention Sima in the press conference. He says his missus has just had a baby. He's had some sleepless nights and it's affected his performances. He did also say there's one or two other players having babies in December and January. So I think it's something that a puzzle I'd imagine that he's mentioned a few times that he's going to have to get on top of, because I think, Sima is off the boil. There's not many with pass marks tonight. I think McCausland certainly, although at times he was also guilty of giving the ball away. It was just a really frustrating evening, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think McCausland made a big error, despite the fact he was much improved basically from Cantwell, wasn't he? He did offer a bit of a spark, and he grafted and he buzzed about. And that was huge. But what I would say is he had to go down, Derek. You know, he was fouled in the box. And was fouled quite obviously in the box, and he had to go down, and that was just inexperience. It was a definite penalty if he'd gone over. The guy didn't get the ball, and he caught him. So that moment was absolutely key, because that would have been the opportunity for Tavernier to put Rangers 2-1 up, and I think that would have been a very, very good opportunity, because obviously at that point Aris would have to come out, and it would leave space at the back.
I'm concerned about the next. 10 games. I can't see Rangers winning all 10. We've got obviously another fact that he was asked about this in the press conference. Rangers going to Seville, knowing that they really have to get a result over there just to guarantee progression in the Europa League. They've got that League Cup final just 3 days later as well. Aberdeen, on the other hand, have got a dead rubber against Frankfurt. They're at home as well, so it's better preparation for them, even though Barry Robson was not too happy about the fixture scheduling after their semi-final. So there's that to factor in. Just on Lammers, Jonny, for me, I don't think, try to be kind to him, he wouldn't get a game for Ali McCoy's third division champion side. He wouldn't even get a game in that team. He was dreadful tonight. That's the first time I've seen him in the flesh, and like you said, you sort of feel sorry for him when he gets substituted. There was cheers and amongst the fans where I was. A bit of overspill with the press area, so I was amongst the fans up the back end of the main stand, and they were delighted to see him getting taken off. There was a bit of booze, it's fair to say, but when Cantwell was substituted, many felt that Lammers should have been the man to be replaced, and I can understand why. He is woeful for Rangers. If they can find a buyer in January, then they've done well in that one. Cifuentes, jury is out on him. The manager did say he is getting up to speed. He's not at his sharpest. I think that's fair to say. He also says Tom Lawrence is gradually coming back after that injury. That's why he wasn't starting the game tonight. But certainly middle to front, Jonny, Rangers have problems. They are so limp up there. It is really worrying. You've got to see with these games coming up, starting with St Mirren on Sunday, who will fancy their chances. Yeah,
look, John Barrett, the chairman, who's given Michael Beale over £12 million to spend on strikers effectively in the summer, must be tearing his hair out looking at Danilo, Lammers and Dessers. I wouldn't quite write Danilo off yet, but I'm certainly writing off Lammers and Dessers. That's going to be an enormous write-off. If you can get $6 million in for their signatures at the moment, given Rangers have spent 8.5 in the summer, I think you absolutely snap the hand off that to get them out the door. It might be more difficult than that, because it will be yet another club in terms of Lammers that he's failed at. And in terms of Dessers, well, maybe that's a bit more promising, but he's not getting any younger, is he? Let's be honest. It's really, really difficult. The main thing I would say, and some of the comments are talking about this, you've got to rely on a 20-year-old kid who's basically played about 5 or 6 first-team games to come in and do one thing that you expect any player to do, which is show a bit of personality, Derek.
Yeah, bit of bravery.
I don't think McCausland is a world beater by any means. For a winger, he's not got pace. He's not really, really quick. And I don't think he's particularly tricky, but he works his backside off, causes problems because of that. and he can certainly finish. We've seen that already, and that's a lot more than anyone else is doing out there. So I definitely think he's played his way in to get more opportunities, and listen, Clement will see that just like we've seen it. But I think these last two games have exposed the feeling that this manager is coming in, he can walk on water, and it's all these problems that Rangers have had, probably built up over 2 or 3 managers, problems that were there in Gerrard's last few months, problems that were there under Gio, problems that were certainly there under Beale. This is all going to have to be solved by Philippe Clement, and it's going to take time. Ultimately, the problem with Rangers remains they are absolutely shot shy. They are absolutely unable to show a deadliness in front of goal. And until they solve that, Derek, there will be a dearth of trophies coming into this club. You need players who can score goals. And there are still nowhere near enough of them in this squad. You've got Tavernier, you've got Sima. Where are the rest of the goals? Where are the goals from midfield?
Yeah.
You know, who's the striker you can hang your hat on to get 25 goals?
Yeah.
Rangers just need to go out and get that. They've made a mess of this Scottish transfer market. I've gone on about it enough, Derek. I feel like I'm going on about it until I'm blue in the face, but there's so many players that they've allowed to slip through down to clubs in England or clubs abroad that could have come in and done a job and kept up that sort of Scottish identity, kept up the homegrown players in the squad.
Yeah.
And listen, we've talked about this many times, but this is the problem when you bring in a load of guys who don't have experience in Scottish football, who don't understand Rangers as a club, because they're coming in, they're getting used to it. The demands where a draw is a disaster. You know, Sam Lammers will probably be looking around the club going, why is everyone going mad? We've won every game and then drawn 2. We've not lost. What's the problem? Because, people don't understand it, the culture. So all these sort of things, they need to be sorted out, and they need to be sorted out fast. And you just got to hope that Philippe Clement is quickly learning what is going to be required with this squad, because I think the last 2 games will have shown him quite a lot about what's needed. Make no mistake, Derek, that's a big, big ask for them to go to Betis and win. Huge. I can't see that in current form. Based on what I saw at Ibrox, and they're a good team. They've got good players, and then, and this is the sort of bigger thing. Aris are welcoming Sparta on their ground. I'm not saying it's an easy game, but you would want that, wouldn't you? That's the easier of the 2 positions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
plus, I'm going to Seville, and I've never seen Rangers win away from home, so. But there's that as well. So I did joke when I came up here, when I spoke to David Egger in the press room. I don't have a good record recently of watching Rangers, so you can well and truly blame me, folks, for.
Listen, Derek, you've never had any problems in Seville, though, right?
What do you mean?
It's always going well. The luck's always held in Seville. You've not been to Seville.
Well, I have been. I went for the trolling. Trolling
sure.
Jonny. Anyway, let's get to a few comments.
I'm just simply illustrating how bad it's been.
Absolutely. Let's get to a few of the comments that are coming in. Lots on the Cantwell situation. First of all, Kevin Robbie. That should be Lammers' last game. The only time I want to see Sam Lammers in a Rangers jersey is if Rangers are 3-4-0 up and Philippe Clement's feeling charitable and just bring him on. Aside from that, there's supporters around about me saying that he's like a man down. It's that bad. Gave the ball away 11 times, I think it was, in that first half. Not good enough. On Cantwell, Denzel with the point. The decision to take Cantwell off was, on the face of it, understandable. The mystery is why on earth Lammers is occupying his number 10 berth. Just on the Lammers situation as well, Stuart Melvin with the point. If the manager subs you after 36 minutes for a 20-year-old, there is a major problem. I think it's a major problem between Cantwell and Clement. Jonny, he's obviously not listening to his instructions.
To be honest, Derek, I think it's a man management issue, and I think Clement is doing this deliberately. You know, I think he's. I don't know what's going on. I don't have any insight, but I'm just going by what he's already said. He said that he told Cantwell how he wanted that position to be played several times.
Yeah.
And he felt that during the first 36 minutes of the game, Cantwell was doing the opposite of what he'd asked. So I don't think he felt like he was wanting to give Cantwell what he wanted, which is to be shifted into the middle on the back of him failing to do the job that he'd asked him to do. It's like, you know, you're then rewarding him for not doing the job that you've asked him to do, you know, not playing for the team. He did say afterwards that he doesn't have a problem with Todd, but he needs to perform well enough to be kept in the team. It doesn't look like to me like there'll be a lot of happiness and smiles between those two tomorrow. I think Rangers will have to keep an eye on this one because listen, Todd Cantwell says he loves the club, says he feels at home. There's never a winner there's never a win for a player when you take on a manager. No. So I think the best thing Todd Cantwell can do, stay off social media. Don't do anything stupid by posting on Instagram or anything daft like that.
Yeah.
Get your head down. Apologise if you really haven't done what you were told. Have a look back at the game and just assess it coldly tomorrow. Yeah. And get back to work and start grafting, because Cantwell's got the class. He's got the quality. If he's played at number 10, you know, and Cantwell needs to focus on getting back that jersey and that position from Tom Lawrence or Lammers, although I can't believe Lammers is ahead of him, to be honest.
That's what many find puzzling, though, Jonny. I mean, I don't think Lammers could lace Cantwell's boots as a number 10 in that position. He's just such a superior player, but for some reason or another, that the manager preferring Sam Lammers in there. Mandy Thompson just on the forward line. She says, I think we've said this numerous times, Cholak, big mistake letting the guy go. Absolutely. David with the point just says Lowry and Rice would have us in a better place than Lammers and Sifu. On Alex Lowry, I'm sure me and Chris brought this up a couple of shows ago, if I'm not mistaken. I'm for one just leaving him at Tynecastle at this moment in time, Jonny, but he walks into this Rangers team in place of Sam Lammers. Do you think that is something that the manager might be considering come January, possibly recalling Alex Lowry?
We don't know. And that's the interesting thing, because I don't think Lowry is really set in the heather alight at Hearts. I don't think he's done as well as I thought he would do. He's been in and out. I think he needs more time there, to be honest. Do I think Alex Lowry is better than Lawrence Cantwell? Nah, I don't think he's done enough to say that, to be honest. So, listen, Rangers have got a plethora of number 10s. You've got Hadji there as well, who could be recalled potentially. I don't know what the situation is with the contract. He's
there for the season. He's there. Yeah. Alaves for the season, yeah. So
you never know with these deals, though. So for example, if he put his foot down, you remember that was a situation with Gio when he went and got Itten back, and from his loan deal, and so it was able to be done. But Rangers are on their books have a lot of these players, and the truth is, in terms of the way they play, well, there's only room for one. I suppose the problem that Clermont has is there's an overburdens. There's an over. They're overstocked on number 10s, and they don't have enough wingers. And listen, that's been a problem for however long. I know McCausland's come in, but you still need more talent in that area, more players that can get to the back post and pot the ball in the net. That's the modern game. You know, wingers that score goals. Rangers only have Sima, and they need 3 of these guys.
Yeah, and for me, I think Seaman needs a spell out of the team. Rabbi Matondo came on. I thought he had a pretty poor game, in all honesty. But again, he's just getting back up to speed. The manager did stress this, that he is just back from an injury. We have to be a bit patient, I think, with him. But I don't think there was many with pass marks tonight. Alan McInnes with the point here. He says, guys, you are both so dismissive of Aris chances this week. Where do you think we really are? We are not good enough for Europa League on the basis we must stop kidding ourselves. I don't think that they're not good enough for the Europa League, Jonny. It was a bitterly poor evening here at Ibrox, but I certainly wouldn't be ruling out Rangers getting a result over there in Spain. I think they are good enough for the Europa League. I think Philip Clement has work to do. There's no doubt about it. But listen, I think we all know that Rangers are much better than what they're producing at the moment. I do expect bit of movement in January time to try and improve this squad. There is a number of players that need shipped out. There's no doubt about it. And I think Aris Limassol as well, perhaps we have been too dismissive of them. They have shown in this competition that they can go to places. They ran Sparta Prague close. Ran Real Betis close at home as well. So they are no mugs. They've got some decent players in their ranks, but Rangers really should have been good enough tonight to get the better of them. So, I think still very much to play for. He was asked in the press conference that the fact that Rangers can still top the group, is that a positive you can cling on to? He says they'll be going out there to do all they can to do that. But certainly an interesting final day beckoning in a couple of weeks.
I think in terms of Aris, Derek, Babica, I thought was pretty impressive. He gave
number 80, the good boy scored.
He gave Barisic a really, really hard time down that right-hand side. If you're looking for an electric winger who showed tonight he can score, I think he's potentially one you should be looking at. Very impressed by him. I think generally, and I think it's important to say this, I think Aris are actually a bit better than the sort of traditional Scottish football kind of, they're just from Cyprus. You've got serious Russian money behind them. Yeah. And across the two games, you'd have to say they're not a bad side, are they? Rangers have shown over 2 or 3 years that when it comes to this competition, they're okay. They beat Betis at home, and they're a good side. They beat Sparta Prague, and they're also pretty good. So I think Aris have just been a little bit better than what people expect, and it's one of those situations whereby everyone expects you to beat them because they're from Cyprus, and actually they're a better team than that. If you don't beat them, it's a disaster. Now, I'm not in any way, shape, or form taking away how bad Rangers were tonight in terms of some of the individual performances, which dragged the whole team down. I've already said that. I've already picked out the individuals. But to me, they were not too bad, Aris, to be fair. Yeah. That said, I don't think there's any doubt this Rangers squad should be beating that team. And that's something that, the issues that they exposed, I think the manager will have to go away and have a real hard think about, because I think there's been a little bit in terms of hitting Rangers with a long ball on the break in the last 2 games.
He said that as a concern. He was asked about that. He says it's a concern for him and something that he wants to address. He has been showing them videos. But perhaps the fact is, I know that it was a different centre-back pairing on Sunday to what it was this evening. I'd imagine Leon Balogun and Connor Goldson will probably, do you imagine they would both come back in for Sunday, Jonny? But it certainly is something that they need to address frontal bit, because it is too easy for teams to get through straight through the back of the Rangers defence at this moment in time.
Derek, this is another one. I think they just need a centre-back. Connor Goldson, and I know this is controversial, I don't understand really why he makes the odd mistake, but I think he's been really pretty solid for Rangers. The rest of them, Leon Balogun is a player I like, but he's really getting on now. I think the Leon Balogun 2 years ago, for example, might have got back because he was really quick to stop Miovski at the weekend. I don't think he's a terrible squad player to have around, but I don't think you want to be hanging your hat on him. Ben Davies, you just got to say that that's not working out. Ben Davies is great on the ball. If you're looking for a player to drive forward with the ball against your St Mirrens and your Ross Counties, and it's less than St Mirren are third in the league, so it's probably a bit unfair. What I mean is kind of teams who are going to sit in deep against you, and I'm sure they will actually, by the way, at the weekend, then I can see the benefit of someone like Ben Davies, but he's just, every time he goes up against a better quality of side, and I would include Aris in that, he struggles defensively. So you just can't get away with that at Rangers. So I just think Ben Davies is just a deal that's not worked out, and that it's something that the club needs to extricate themselves from if they can. I suspect they might struggle with that, to be honest, over the next year or two. So we'll see on that front. As to the other options in there, John Souttar, to me, got a mistake in him. I was a bit shaky about John Souttar. I just feel like he does a lot of good things. Again, really bringing the ball out, but I think there's there's a worry over every one of them except Goldson, and even Goldson himself, we know that he has moments where he makes mistakes.
Yeah. Another issue that concerned me in that second half, Aris had a spell of about 3 consecutive corners. Rangers again going with zonal marking, and they had a header, I think, just over the crossbar at one point. Not a big fan of it. Don't understand why. I know that Michael Beale was a fan of it. I don't understand the reasoning why Rangers are going zonal. I think it's not for me. Man marking is a way to go for me, but I'm not a football manager. I just think it just gives the opposition a better opportunity to get on the end of corners, Jonny. So yeah, it's something I think that has to be addressed. But defensively as a whole, I know many comments are coming in. It is an area of concern as well. Not only are Rangers limp in attack at the back, they are susceptible to losing goals, and cheap goals at that, as we've witnessed in the last 2 games. So certainly what to do for the manager, both offensively and defensively. Right, I think we'll wrap up there. A big bumper show after what has been an ultimately disappointing night here at Ibrox. We'll be back again tomorrow to dissect the game in closer detail. Joshua will be back on with us as well. Keep tuned to YouTube, folks. Ross McCausland is up. Philip Clement should be up shortly, as well as his post-match comments. So you can find that on there. You can also find the transcript of what he had to say to TNT Sports on the website. So do go and check it out. And just a reminder, folks, if you haven't already done so, the Black Friday offer ends tomorrow at midnight. So time is quickly running out. So head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe to sign up. Just £12 for an entire year. It's our best ever offer. So go on and sign up if you haven't already done so. Huge thanks to Jonny and to everyone for tuning in to the show tonight, and we'll speak to you again tomorrow morning. Good night. Bye for now.